What's going on, guys? It's Clutch Plays here, and today we're going to talk about 5 reasons why the Knicks could/will make the playoffs. I know that this may not be the best timing after last night, but everyone has to chill out because it's only the preseason. To make the playoffs, the Knicks are going to need to make some serious improvements to their preseason rotation, but they still do have a serious shot at making the playoffs in the East. They got better in the offseason, and the competition they're going up against has only gotten worse. Now, before I get into the video, I'm not saying that the Knicks will make the playoffs, but genuinely believe that they will be anywhere from the 7 to 10 seed to end the season. There are clear teams who are going to suck, such as the Wizards, Hornets, and Cavs. There are also a good 7 to 8 teams competing for the 6 to 8 seeds in the East. Before I get into the video, though, we are less than 20 subs away from 1K, so make sure you're subscribed if you're not already. Now, with that said, let's get into the 5 reasons why the Knicks could or will make the playoffs. Depth. The Knicks are one of the deepest teams in the NBA and the deepest team in the Eastern Conference. As we all know, the Knicks have 3 quality point guards, 4 quality shooting guards, 3 quality small forwards, 2 quality power forwards, and 2 quality centers. When I say quality, I mean that they can get minutes on almost every other NBA team's rotation. The Knicks have so much depth right now that when DSJ, Reggie Bullock, and Damian Dotson are all out, Alonzo Trier is still not in the rotation, at least for the preseason. Having so much depth right now may seem a bit much, but once the season comes, players begin to drop like flies. Just last season alone, the current Knicks rotational players were on the injury report a combined 67 different times. This means that these players most likely missed at least 1 game and probably more. The 82-game NBA season is very long, and having 12 to 13 players who are worthy of playing every night will significantly help them throughout the regular season. Teams like the Heat and Hawks, who don't have many big men, and the Nets, who have many injury-prone players, could be put into terrible positions due to injuries and lack of depth at certain positions this season. The selling East. To start the season, almost every team is going to think that they have a shot at making it into the playoffs. After a month or 2 of the regular season, some teams such as the Raptors, Pistons, and Wizards could all be in a position to sell their players for younger players and picks. For example, the Raptors recently extended Kyle Lowry, but many people around the NBA believe that the Raptors did this in order to make trading him easier. Without Kawhi and Danny Green and a much older championship core, the Raptors aren't going to be the same team as last year and will be fighting for an 8 seed. Woj, the most credible source in basketball, also said that the Raptors will be looking into trading their championship core at the trade deadline. Next, the Pistons are going absolutely nowhere. They traded for Blake Griffin and paired up with Andre Drummond, but have gotten absolutely no help around them. At some point this season, the Pistons are going to need to make a decision of whether they trade for a star player or press the restart button, since Andre Drummond is going to be a free agent and is excited about it. The Pistons don't even have the assets to attain a star player, so it looks like they should be in the seller category come the trade deadline. Finally, the Wizards are in tank mode, and they have said they want to keep Bradley Beal, but that also means Bradley Beal will want to stay with an awful Wizards team in the prime of his career. I don't know, but winning has to mean something to him, right? All these teams are ready or about to be ready to unload at the trade deadline, which will give the Knicks a better shot at making the playoffs. Coaching system. Now, when I say coaching system, I do not mean David Fizdale's coaching, rather the system he's implemented. This system is very fast-paced and benefits greatly with the more players available to be put into the game. Having significant depth on the Knicks will help them get up and down the floor and play extremely hard when they get the chance to be put into the game. On top of this, Fizdale has a huge emphasis on defense, which is honestly quite ironic knowing Frank, who's our best defender, struggles to get minutes. And last year, the Knicks were pretty terrible on the defensive side of the ball, but with significantly better defenders this year, such as Marcus Morris, Mitch, and Elfrid Payton, along with Fizdale's coaching, the Knicks should be a good defensive team. All in all, Fizdale may have trouble with rotations and drawing up plays, but the system he has implemented with the Knicks fits their roster perfectly. Number 4, the mentality. Ever since the end of free agency, everyone on the Knicks has come out and said that their team is filled with dogs. They aren't going to take shit from anyone, as we saw with the Marcus Morris incident, and will work harder than everyone else on the floor. Also, they have said that they will do whatever it takes to win games, and yeah, like every team says this, but these players say it in basically every interview and genuinely do mean it. They know that everyone is doubting them as always and trying to bring them down. They aren't going to let it affect them. And honestly, that's the mentality that you need playing on the Knicks. All these players are way different from any other team that we've had in the past 20 years, and also way different from any other team in the NBA. This is a great mix of young guys and solid veterans who are going to work hard every day to get themselves and their teammates better. This team is awfully similar to the Clippers team of last year. Just look at the roster and depth of each team. The Clippers consisted of a bunch of dogs in Pat Bev and Montrezl Harrell, while they also had a great group of young players and solid veterans similar to the Knicks. Once the Knicks are finally able to pull everything together and get everyone on the same page, it's going to shock the rest of the NBA. The only question is, how long will it take? Finally, the Knicks young core. The Knicks roster is one of the youngest in the NBA and consists of 6 players who are 21 years of age or younger and 10 players who are 24 years old or younger. All these players are still extremely young and only going to get better this year. DSJ has been working relentlessly on his 3-point shot, and a great shot with his already top-tier athleticism should be deadly. Kevin Knox has been looking a lot stronger and should be a much better finisher in the paint this year. Mitch has added a 3-ball, and Frank has only been getting better and gaining more confidence in his game this summer. These are just a few of the main Knicks players, and I haven't even talked about Julius Randle, Alonzo Trier, or Ignas Brazdeikis. All these young players are only going to improve their games this season, which will make the Knicks an even scarier team. There are a lot of young teams such as the Hawks, Bulls, and Cavs in the East, but with the Knicks players improving just as much, if not more than these other young teams' cores, it should be a very tight race for the bottom seeds in the East. Other than the Cavs though, they're going nowhere. A few other reasons why the Knicks could make the playoffs are because the Nets' 2 best players, Kyrie and Karis LeVert, are extremely injury prone, and the Nets will need both of them healthy for the majority of the season if they want to make the playoffs. The Pacers have a completely new roster with Brogdon and TJ Warren, but had key losses of Bojan Bogdanovic, Thaddeus Young, Darren Collison, and Corey Joseph. The Pacers star player Victor Oladipo is slated to return sometime between January and the All-Star break, so are the Pacers really going to be able to stay in the playoff race without him? These are just a few things to think about, and if one or even both of these things come true, the Knicks should have a pretty secure spot in the playoffs. Now with that said, tell me what you guys think about the Knicks playoff chances, and if you think the Knicks are going to be able to make the playoffs this season. I'm personally about like 40% yes right now, but believe that this number could change and probably will change once we see what happens with some of the other teams in the East, and if any trades occur that make significant changes to the landscape of the East. We are so close to 1K subs, so if you're not yet subscribed, make sure you do so. Now I'm out, and peace!